So most of you were on the Facebook Live, so I'm not going to start where I started there. We're just going to jump right in, and I'm going to go through a whole bunch of these questions. I welcome your questions and dialogue as well. And something that I really appreciate about our group in Embodied Coaching Experience, which some of you are a part of, is that we all have different perspectives and we all bring a lot of wisdom, and we all get to have different experiences and perspectives. So if there's anything I'm sharing on that you resonate with or feel differently about, feel free to write that in the chat so that we can all um, have that collective experience together. And if you are new here, if I don't know you, I just want to give you an extra special welcome. It's such an honor to have you here, and I hope that there's something helpful that happens on this call today. So really what we're exploring is, what's it like to be a coach? What's it like to be a care provider? How do we meet that with our presence, our kindness, our compassion, with some skill and some wisdom, or the opposite, when we totally don't have access to any of that? How do we meet that too? And how do I, what's my approach to that? So hopefully you'll get a sense of that. So we have this whole list of questions. I'm just going to start at the top and go on down the list. And the first one is, my clients talk so much and aren't in their bodies. This question comes up so much in our consultations. It comes up in the Embodied Coaching Experience. It comes up in creating safer space. And the fact that it comes so much just lets me know, like, it's a really common place where people get stuck, especially when we have this value or idea that being in our bodies is where we're supposed to be. When we are embodiment coaches or somatic therapists, and when we've done a lot of somatic healing on our own, many of us go, yes, we want to be in our body. There is wisdom around that, especially when we've experienced trauma. One of the access points to being able to feel more grounded and present and here is through being able to feel the present moment, to not get hijacked by past thoughts and future thoughts. And one of the best and quickest access points to the present moment is through the body. And so when we have that value that we want to be moving towards embodiment, and not everyone has that value. Personally, I do, because it's worked really well for me. It's brought me a lot of healing. I see it working for my clients. The first thing is, we want to check our motivation. What's going on for ourselves that we think our client needs to be doing something different than they're doing. We need to check our agenda. If we have something we're wanting for them that is either the same or different for them. And then we check into ourselves around how do we feel in the presence of this client that is talking so much and not in their body? What does it hit? Is there something insecure? Is there something where, I don't know, sometimes when people are talking at me or talking a lot, what happens is I'm also managing people joining as I'm talking. What happens is I'll feel a bit of a tension, kind of a leaning forward, this impulse to want to control the situation, because I have this story that I tell myself that it would be better if, or I would be more helpful if they could just be in their bodies. And so then I come into my own regulation. And when I can feel the ground, I feel my support, I feel my breath, it's amazing what happens with their talking. One, I become more curious. What they're sharing kind of feels like it has more depth. They tend to shift too and become a little more regulated. That they don't have to, but I just, there are 1,000 answers I could have for that question. What if the client is talking a lot and not in their bodies? But the first point of access is how do I feel about that? What are the stories I'm telling myself about that? And what am I carrying in my body around that? Because having an agenda is actually violent. And when people are talking a lot, they are showing you how they're trying to connect. That is how they're trying to regulate. And so we don't need to make it wrong. We don't need to make anything wrong. And then we have our North Star and we have what their intention is. And then over time, the embodiment comes, but there are different ways to get there. So there's a little piece of the million ways I could answer that. And feel free to write in the chat how that impacts you as you're hearing it. And the next question is around, what if clients criticize me or they're disappointed? And I love this because we also hear that kind of question all the time. A lot of people show up to ECE kind of, this is happening, you know, it's hard, it hurts, I feel triggered around it. What am I doing wrong? Usually people think they're doing something wrong when their clients criticize them or they're disappointed. And I have to say, I celebrate it. I really think that when the client feels safe enough with you to tell you what's happening that's wrong, quote unquote wrong, what's not working for them, they're revealing this part to you that probably is pretty vulnerable. And so it's how you meet that criticism and disappointment that really matters. Can you hold yourself? You know, when people criticize me, that's the scariest thing in the entire world for me. So I put my seatbelt on, ground into my chair. I'm listening for what's underneath that, what needs and desires are not getting met that they'd like to have met. I'm listening for where I can take responsibility for places I might have missed them. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, they are also showing me what's happening possibly in their relationships and in the world outside of here. And this is just really good information. I don't need to take it personally. And there is a fine line because, yes, take responsibility for anything any ways you have missed them or done something that was out of line. But also you don't need to make it about you being a bad person or being a wrong coach or something. It's an incredible opportunity to gather more information about their worldview and what they're experiencing and to meet it with depths of curiosity and compassion. So this is hard. It's hard work for people like me. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And, you know, a form of trauma that I experienced growing up was around being heavily criticized. So when my clients criticize me, it hits that core wound. And so I have to be mindful enough to go here first, ground, put my seatbelt on. Remember, my job here is in service of them and their healing. And so I get to get curious in this moment, and then I can tend to whatever's happening in here with my colleagues. I don't need to work it out with my client. I don't need to take it out on my client. And it's just really about gathering information. I'm going to check the chat here. And welcome to everyone that's showing up. I really apologize for the Facebook Live meltdown. I'm really glad you're finding your way. If anybody feels moved to go check the chat over there, please feel free to go drop this link if people are confused where we are. Yeah. Thanks, Belinda and Kat. Yeah, I'm really grateful you're here and listening. Yeah. And so the next question is around, how do I stay steady when my personal life is blowing up? I used to think that I was the only clinician, I was the only therapist or the only coach that wasn't like steady all the time. I used to have this story that my personal life was just this total shit show. And in between sessions with clients, like I was putting out fire after fire after fire, super anxious, really, you know, managing a lot of depression. Somehow I managed to show up for my sessions actually really beautifully. Part of that is like what helped become steady over time. It was a place where I really felt committed to showing up in a different way. So I would say the phrase, others feel this too, is a good reminder that other coaches experience this too, other care providers experience this too. To remember that you're human, that these experiences are just moving through you. And my experience, and the experience of, I know many of you who are here and others, is that our clients actually tend to resonate with us and go through a lot of what we're going through. And so we might go through something one week, and the next week the client walks in the door and like the same exact thing happened. You wouldn't have known how to meet that a week before. And so I really try to remember that this is part of the medicine that I bring, is if I can be with the storms that arise, knowing that it's part of the humanness that's in me, knowing that I'm still on my healing path. And I am personally a fierce advocate and activist around the fact that we do not need to be perfect as clinicians or coaches or whatever you want to call yourself. We do this where we put each other on pedestals and think that we need to be healed to help. And God, that sounds boring to me. I don't even know if I'd want to do my job anymore if that was true. I mean, to an extent, yes, I'm more healed than ever. But it's material for continuing to be committed to this healing path. And as much as possible, when the storms are here and when we're not feeling steady, grounding into the resources we have available to us externally and internally. Can I feel my feet? Can I feel the back of my body? We can all do this right now. Can I feel my breath when I'm in sessions? When I feel my attention wandering, can I place a hand on my belly or my heart, even in the presence of a client? You might choose a few things in your space to connect with that are soothing, comforting. Last winter, when I was shattering through a series of events around health and love, all of it, which is all better now, I held a candle in my hands between my computer and myself. And the client didn't know the candle was there, but I needed some warmth. I needed to know that little inner child that was just losing her shit had one hand on her. And so I just imagined that candle was the little inner one, and I held her in my hands as I was in sessions, and it gave me the ability to just know that she was being cared for, and I could be here in the adult part of myself guiding beautifully, you know? So we have various parts of ourselves, and we just get to choose which ones drive the bus, you know? And for me, if I am in those spaces, I think my work is better. I wish I could check that out with people, but I don't. But I actually think when I have that kind of resourcing available and I can allow myself to be that human and I'm leaning into my support, that being in the depths of that pain actually helps me connect with the depths of pain that the people in front of me are in. And so it's a gift, even though it's hard, it's edgy. And I'm going to check the chat again. Yeah, I'd love to hear your experiences around this, because part of me is telling myself the story, oh, that's really irresponsible. Like you should cancel all your sessions. But really, I have found over the years that I can show up. I can, and most of us can. And it's actually really helpful to us and our clients. Yeah. Yeah, hearing that we do not need to be perfect as coaches. No, stop that. Tired of it. I really think we're engaging in a trauma response in ourselves and with our clients. When our clients need us to be perfect, we're engaging in their trauma response and recapitulating the trauma. And then we're also probably engaging in ours if we have that perfectionist tendency. So let yourself be messy. We can always make repairs. We can always clean it up. Yeah. And what do I do when I'm bored out of my mind with a client? Take a breath. You take a breath, come back, feel your ground. When we're bored in meditation, I used to be a meditation teacher. I guess maybe I still am in some ways, but we say it's because we're just not curious enough. There's so much going on. But when we get a little checked out, we can know maybe there's something happening for us that we're not necessarily wanting to feel or engage with. We also might check out if there's something happening for the client over there. Are they a little checked out? Is there something in the field between us that they're not wanting to feel and be with? And so the curiosity can be there. There's no need to then push towards feeling whatever's there. But usually the curiosity is enough. You know, I'm just curious. Let's take a few breaths and see what's present right now. Sometimes what happens is someone will get talking and then there's like a tangent and then we're away from whatever their intention was for the day. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm getting a little kind of checked out, maybe a little bored. Okay, pause, 3 breaths. Let's both check in and get curious. What sensations are here? What emotions are here? What thoughts are here? You can, any of those. Usually that'll bring us right back into connection, into the present moment, and that's more than enough. And Belinda shared, I notice when I start to feel triggered or I'm tired or have something going on personally in my own life, and I'm coaching just by placing a hand on my belly or reminding myself to feel my feet or listen from my heart, everything shifts for both of us. It's so true. It really does. Grounding, resourcing, and regulating shifts the entire field between us. And so one thing you all who are in Embodied Coaching Experience can let me know. One thing I think I really bring to the coaching field that others don't is the power of relationship. Is we're not doing something for our clients. We're not doing something to our clients. We're here in connection with our clients. This is a collaboration. There's a lot happening between the two of us. Usually for most of us, the places where we've been thrown off in our life, where we have the wounding, where we get stuck, that happened in relationship. And so we have to know that it's our relationship together that's going to be part of the healing recipe. And so many people don't know this and don't get this. And we really go into this a lot because just by the power of you being regulated in yourself and breathing and being curious and present, a lot of healing and growth can happen that doesn't happen in other coaching spaces. So we have to know that the relationship really, really matters. What happens when a client triggers my own shit on a sales call? Ooh, put that in the chat. What does happen? Let me know what happens. A lot of you know this, but I hate sales calls. I don't do them. I did for a couple of years. And then now I just do like consultations. We spend 20 minutes together and we see if it's a good fit. It's much more relaxed, but I have been through enough of them as a client and as a coach to be able to unpack this question with you. I feel strongly about that. Yeah. And yeah, Belinda, you're sharing, I'm enjoying them more and more. Good. That's great. I'm curious what brings that joy? What supports that enjoyment? Because my philosophy really is that we can coach from pleasure and ease. And that is what makes the difference in those sales calls or discovery calls or consultations, whatever they are. And the question was, what happens when a client triggers my own shit on a sales call? So it's the same as above. If you feel criticized, same response. What's happening in your system? What needs care? Where are your resources? Remember, it's not personal. If it wasn't personal, what else might be going on? You're gathering information from them. This is an incredible opportunity. I don't know that it's trauma aware. To say this is an incredible opportunity to coach them to a yes. I hear people saying that all the time. It drives me insane, but it is an incredible opportunity to be with them in a way that's genuine and authentic with you, where you get to learn more about them and then coach them to a yes or a no, whatever feels genuine for them. It helps you be able to lean in when you're regulated in yourself and you try imagining, if this wasn't personal, what are they trying to show me? How can I get to know them on an even deeper level? And I find that doing that is what, I hate this. I hate saying this. I don't know. I need to do my own work around it, but makes the sale. I'm not here to make sales. I'm here to connect. And so if you show up in your calls with that intention and it feels genuine, for me, that makes a lot of sense. I rarely have anybody that doesn't want to work with me. And I think it is because I am here to connect. I'm not here to make a sale. If this feels like a really beautiful connection, if it feels like someone I could learn to love or who I even fall in love with in the first call, if it feels like trust and safety could be built, it feels inspiring to go on this journey with them. I feel that in my own system and they can feel that too. And I'm really honest about it. And to me, I think that's enough. That's more than enough. So when they trigger your shit, regulate, resource, connect with yourself, and then really, really connect with them. Yeah. And I'm reading in the chat. Yeah, this joy with the joy. I trust that I can be curious and keep asking because they'll be feeling their feels. Yeah. It's not so personal. I realize that something deeper is going on. So I ask permission to ask more questions. I love hearing. I ask permission to ask more questions. I am here to connect. It feels more soft in my body. I really feel that way. I'm here to connect. I'm here to be in this relationship. And I'm here to be of service to their freedom, to their healing, to their growth. And if I don't feel that way, then I say, I don't think this is a good fit. And I refer out. I do that all the time too. And then I'm also seeing, yeah, I use it as a reflection opportunity post call. So for example, if I'm not confident about my price and they feel that on the call, it's an opportunity for me to revisit my view on costs later. Beautiful. Yeah. It brings you inside. What if I'm worried I'm not getting people results they're coming to me for? I would say embrace it. Like I do everything. So you have worry, there might be fear there might be doubt. Is it possible to slow down, to give yourself space, either solo in connection with others? We do this a lot on the calls together, in small groups. Let's clear this. Let's say what are the stories we're telling ourselves? What's really underneath that? Can we be with that? If you have a colleague or a friend, to really share and name that worry, to get with those tender parts that are causing the worry. And then once we clear that layer, we can decide, is this real? Is this reality? Is there something more they might need? Is there something different they might need? We can bring that collaborative aspect to them. Hey, I'm wondering, you came in with this intention. Where are we at? I love to spend the ends of my calls asking, what were a couple of things that were impactful for the last hour, which has really remedied that question for me, because I used to worry all the time we weren't getting results. And then I would hear every session at the end, oh, something's happening here. And I wouldn't spend my time in between sessions thinking about it anymore at all, because I really got what we did was enough. And then my other activist part of me is really big on let's not push for these big transformations. I think a lot of us only feel successful, especially when we're new coaches or therapists, when it feels like something big has happened in that session. Not only just one thing, but hitting all of the things all session long. Was every moment epic? Are they walking away ready to tell all their friends about me? Are they going to come back? Do they think I'm the best? And really, I don't know that change is sustainable. I don't know if it's easy to integrate that kind of epicness enough to take it out into life for the rest of life. What I've learned in my own healing, my own practice, is actually the smaller changes that as a clinician sometimes are like, oh, I don't know if that was enough, are the ones that make the biggest, most long-term impact. And showing and modeling for our people, our clients, especially with trauma, because we tend to be intensity junkies as people with trauma, that a little bit goes a long way, and that we trust that that's enough for a shift, gives them permission to rest into that like they have never done before. And so I hope you're getting a sense of that. I would love to hear what's happening in your body as you hear me say that, because it's a hard shift to make. We want to be out there with all those like Facebook, social media influencers that are $1 million coaches that give these big transformations in one session. And sorry, I might be talking about myself. Not everybody feels that way, but I used to get really sucked into that. And now I see my clients are having these enormous shifts from us barely doing anything. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Okay, cool. So that's my activism. And I just want, I want my crew of people, all of you and people in ECE to really get that and change the coaching industry. It's like, this is actually it. This is beautiful. It's not that big cathartic things can't be impactful and awakening and bring us insights. But it also can feel like just getting high, and then we kind of go really far back into a contraction, and it can be painful. And so I like to kind of just do expansion like this instead of like, I used to love to do it like that. At least I thought I did, but it really hurt. Okay, let's see. I'm going to be here longer than an hour. This is recorded. We had a lot of tech issues, so you can hang out with me as long as you want. But I'm here all day. It's actually like beautiful. I can see palm trees. It's cool in the sun. I've got the fire. I'm hanging out. What happens, or why am I not selling, serving powerfully, and renewing clients? Feel free to write your gut feeling, first thought, best thought, if that's something that you feel like is true for you. Why am I not selling, serving powerfully, and renewing clients? Yeah. Eureka, thank you for your comment. Yeah, my body is softening and whispering. Finally, someone that gets it when I hear you talk. Oh, I feel the same way about you hearing that. I'm like, oh, someone who gets it. Totally. Yeah. And Belinda shared, I've slowed down my coaching since being in ECE. I trust my clients will get what they need, and I just keep tuning into them. I used to try and give them all the tools like every week, and I almost go way more slowly, and my clients are so much more regulated on the calls now. I literally have tears hearing that. It's been beautiful seeing that transition. And I hope, can I offer just a tiny reflection of what it's been like to see that? Okay. It's almost like you have become more full in your clients slowing down. Something like, I don't know, there's like this kind of motion. You feel like more spacious. It's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, Kat, trusting in slowness. Same here. See, we got our people here. We're starting a revolution. And Belinda, yeah, I do feel more spacious and so much more confident. Yeah, you did that. We're right here with you in that. That's one thing I like about ECE is like, we are here together in this, whatever it is. It's, and my mission isn't to make you all be like me, slow or whatever. I'm not even that slow. Listen to me talking. I'm talking really fast, but it's to make you be more like you and your deepest, most regulated system, so that you can have so much energy to coach from a place that feels like it's from your essence, from your deepest wisdom and your biggest heart. And that is not going to look like me. Nobody's going to do it like I do it. Nobody's going to do it like you do it. And so my hope is that this container and my support and everybody else's support just helps you emerge and you feel embraced and celebrated in that. And then you know what you're out there offering, and you're totally magnetic and irresistible. That's my plan. Wanting to get you there. And I know many of you are feeling like you're on the way there or there. And it's really, really cool. Yeah. And Belinda shared this medicine is slow. Yeah. So the question I asked you a few minutes ago, why am I not selling, serving powerfully, and renewing clients? My gut feeling around this is, one, it's not about you. The coaching industry is noisy. And so I'm feeling like I'm just channeling everyone that's listening to this call. Like, we need a new way to share about our work. And so I'm wanting to find that together. And two, support. Like, that way really to me is referrals. For me, that's been referrals. And it's like, yeah, I love sending you all referrals. I want you all sending referrals to each other, because like, it is noisy out there and it can be hard to get our voices out there amidst, I always are used to, now I'm great and happy marketing, but I used to feel resentful. Like, I have to do my healing craft and I have to know how to run a business and I have to know how to market. I used to feel so pissed about it. And just in the last few years, I feel excited about it. It feels creative. I feel turned on. I have energy. I feel like a badass businesswoman, entrepreneur. I'm making more money than I ever have, even could have imagined in my life as a therapist. And it's going to keep growing. And like, I know that. I trust that. That's brand new. Or I'm like, oh, we don't have any problems here. This is just going to blow up. I'm going to build that hacienda someday that I'm dreaming of. It used to be like, oh, I really hope I can. And so that, like, I want that for everyone. And it's really around having a group of people that support and celebrate the hell out of each other, that can reflect to us our own unique gifts and really be there when we're doubting them. Being in that container of support, to me, I have it for myself. That's why I want to create it for others, is invaluable. To have people just looking in your eyes and go, this, you, yes, your clients, yes. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, it's not because of anything you're missing. You have everything you need to be serving powerfully and renewing your clients. And it really is something that will come as like a magnetic experience, where when you're truly genuinely ready for it, it comes. And for me, it was like an incremental process, like a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. How much capacity do you think you have? Now I work with over 500 people between the things you all see me for and the other conferences and trainings and teachings that I do. And I could have never imagined that that's how many people I would have in my container at one time. And so it's really trusting in our container, in our own personal ability to regulate as we receive people, as we connect with people. And so the more we do our own trauma healing, the more we do, if we don't have a lot of trauma, the more we do our own stepping into connection and support, letting ourselves be vulnerable, letting ourselves keep claiming what it is we do that's beautiful and have that reflected to us, the more we end up serving powerfully and renewing people. And Julia Wells and I just did a talk that's recorded somewhere. I think you could find it on my website, probably somewhere on the Facebook page, around renewing clients. For me, it's about building relationships that last a lifetime. And really, from the very first moment, what is it like to imagine this person, we could be in each other's lives forever, and coming at it with that energy. And I'd just love to hear from you if you could imagine that. It might scare the shit out of you. If you have avoidant attachment patterns or ambivalent or disorganized, it might be like, oh my God, no. That's how I used to be. But is there any part of you that's open to the possibility of imagining, oh, I could really get down with having people in this field with me for a long, long time? Just checking the chat. Yeah, and Casey shared answer to the not selling question. And I fall into my should do's and not what my intuition knows how to do. That's exactly it. Yep. And that's what we want to support together. You just know. Yeah. And I'll just see if any chats come in. And then I want to share like some common hesitations around being part of ECE. And if you're in it, I love that it's ECE. It's like easy. Coaching should be easy. It's easy to be yourself. It's easy to be with your clients. Sometimes it's hard, but then how do we easily come back to our knowing? Cat, more and more feel this is great, being together for longer. And I just want to let you all know, because I'm such an advocate for creating safer space. I could have taken some time at the beginning, but everybody wasn't here. That if you are making comments, I'm gonna edit the video so that I'm not naming you as we send the replay out to people on the list. So this is just for our container here. I may kind of read what you shared, but you are confidential. So, and you can always message me if you don't care either way, but I just want you to know I'm not going to just name you and share it with the world. I try to never do that. Maybe I do it on accident sometimes, hopefully not though. So some common hesitations are around already being in so many other online courses. I mean, first of all, I just want to say, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that you would pause and really take that into consideration. And I actually really appreciate that you would do that, because I think most of us are piling too many things on our plate and we're not able to integrate everything we're doing and not fully sink into it and really be present with it. And this is unlike any other online course. It's not about doing, it's really about being together. And sure, we learn lots together, we grow a lot together. Not shoving new tools down your throat that you need to be learning constantly. It's actually a learning in real time as we're co-regulating together and we're being together. And we're being in a way, hopefully, that my intention is always it's a space that feels safe enough to keep melting into who we truly are, who we genuinely are, and giving each other permission to be that way. Most of the things we're signing up for these days online are where we're downloading tons of information and having to integrate it. And so my hope with ECE is that just by being together for that hour and 45 minutes, 3 times a month, I think, with some extra calls here and there, that's enough. Look at that. I'm modeling what we do in sessions, right? It's more than enough. We don't have to go home with homework unless you want it, unless it's inspired, unless it brings you joy. You don't have to meet with other people from the calls unless it lights you up and really gives you extra support. Sometimes people do accountability calls to just get deeper connection and stay in a rhythm, moving towards the things you're wanting to move towards in your business and in yourself. But really, ECE is about being together. So it's just that amount of time. And if you can be present for that, that's actually not that much time to commit to, but it will impact you for the rest of your life around how you connect and how you are with your clients. And that's going to impact your business and who shows up and who keeps showing up with you. I'm already in oh wait, I already read that. I've done coaching training before. How is this different? Well, one, you have to have had a coaching training to be in this program. I am not, I don't have a method that I've created. I want you to already have a structure that you're working within. I may or may not be daydreaming about creating a coaching course, but with all the things I've already promised you I'm creating, we're just not going to make a commitment to that yet. This is about deepening what you already know. This is about landing in yourself with your colleagues in a way where you can just feel like you're here with your clients in a way that feels easier and supported. It's about integration. We spend so much time in the coaching training, learning all of these little pieces and modules and what to do here and what not to do there and how to guide people through processes. And this is about integrating that, leaning into it, and then letting your intuition and your wisdom come through so that you can just be natural with your clients and just trust that whatever method it is you've learned and you're practicing, that is, it's second nature. But what comes first forward is you being you in relationship. And that is going to be the foundation for whatever coaching method that you've learned from. I hope that makes sense. And I love to hear from folks that have been in the training if that actually feels true. Because that is really something that I'd love to have happen for you all. Yeah. There are a handful of people who haven't done a specific coaching course, but who have called themselves coaches or care providers for a long time, who kind of have their own method and something that works for them. And they've found the course to be helpful too, but it's professional development. You know, I'm not teaching you the nuts and bolts around how to guide someone piece by piece through a session. And it's really probably more helpful if you have that ahead of time. Yeah. And in the coaching training, I've been daydreaming about building. I will not be teaching nuts and bolts. I will be teaching presence and doing less and curiosity. I'll really actually be teaching what I teach in ECE, which is funny. But it'll be a year long. So my clients don't have trauma. Why would I consider trauma-aware supervision? I'd love for somebody in the course to answer that. If you have an answer to that, feel free to write it. My first answer is, even if you don't think your clients have trauma, they definitely do. Everybody has trauma. Everybody heals from it in different ways. So they might not feel overwhelmed by it. They might feel like they've already integrated and healed it and resolved it. However, it would be a really big oversight to think that your clients don't have trauma. Most people who come for care, most people who come wanting to do some healing work or growth work, have some level of trauma. And you know what? I wouldn't even, I've moved away from calling it trauma awareness because it really feels like human awareness. The way that I share and teach trauma awareness is really how I would want every human to be taken care of. Every human to get the experience of having someone be that present, that caring, trying to get their experience. And so really it will up level you in so many ways, because when someone feels that seen, cared for, and gotten, that gives them the opportunity to feel safe enough to be guided, to go on this journey with you, to step into the vulnerabilities that are going to inevitably come with growth, right? With healing. It always feels tender and vulnerable. And so when we hold them in a trauma-aware way, it just gives them that much more of an opportunity to sink into that in a way that feels nourishing and supportive, and that they can really integrate. Yeah, and in the chat, this is a great response. Everybody has trauma, and they're usually not aware of it. They function from it unconsciously. And if not personal trauma, they surely hold trauma. So the word can be triggering also. Oh, I think I just combined two comments. And if not personal trauma, they are surely affected by collective trauma in some way or another. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. And Belinda, most people are not aware of it. I find clients do not like to admit they hold trauma. So the word can be triggering. Yeah. And so part of trauma aware coaching is that we don't say you have trauma. We just hold it in our hearts going, oh, this precious human in front of us likely has been through a lot to get to this moment right here with me. And so then we are holding them in such compassion and such skill when we're trauma aware. Yeah. And just like above, yeah, collective trauma in some way or another. Nobody escapes trauma. And if you are a coach or a care provider, I find, this is a massive generalization, that most of us have had trauma, and that's why we're drawn to helping others heal. And so when we're trauma aware coaches, we're integrating and healing and resolving our own trauma so that we can better be connected and present with our clients, be more regulated. So we all need this trauma aware care. It's not a trauma training, but it is very trauma aware. You'll learn a lot about how to be with yourself and others who have been frightened and overwhelmed and really disconnected throughout their life. And what a beautiful thing to get to bring to whatever you're doing. Yeah. Yeah. And then this other comment, holding them in a trauma informed way gives them a sense of being heard, seen, acknowledged, gives them the gift of presence and compassion. And this creates safety and gives them space to practice spontaneity and connect to their own self. Yes. Yes. Write that on your website. It's beautiful. Next question. We've got like 3 or 4 more. I wish I could just hang out with you all day. So the next question is, I'm so embodied. Do I still need this? And yeah, I mean, the more we're together, the more people keep re-signing up. So we're continuing to become more and more embodied in this program. And the connections that keep happening are deeper and deeper, and the richness is more and more rich. And so the more embodied we become, and if we show up fully embodied, the more we contribute to this container and the more we get from this container, it will really support us to just stand even more fully in our confidence and our strength, and to be able to lean into support more, which I don't know, I think pretty much everyone has. And so it just adds to the wisdom of the collective of this container. And yes, you'll still get so much out of it. It really is a unique experience where all of us have different pieces that we come with. You know, some people show up more embodied or have more somatic practices or feel really regulated. Other people have tons of knowledge and information about, you know, various things we're meeting in our client around like PTSD or anxiety, or some people are great at logistical business stuff. Some people are amazing at mindset stuff. And so we just all bring it together, and then we all get to benefit from it all. And it's really beautiful. The next question is, I know I'm amazing at my work. Why would professional development be helpful for me? My activist hat just went back on. And I really, really believe that when we are in these helping and healing fields, we need consistent consultation. We need consistent support, because we're working with trauma, we're working with humans. You know, there's nothing that stays the same about that. It's always evolving, it's always shifting, it's always growing. There's always more to learn. There's always more regulation we can have. You know, we're always growing. It's not like I'm super powerful and I'm just going to stop there. I'm a super great coach and I'm done. It's like, no, we actually need accountability. We need people to keep celebrating us, to keep seeing us. It feels so good when you feel like you've honed your craft, to sit amongst peers and colleagues who see that. And like, that's how you keep going. It's really hard to keep going without being in, not a bubble, but something, a holding experience. You know, we can work behind closed doors where nobody sees what we do. I see people burn out so much thinking, oh, I've got this. I'm just going to pat myself on the back when I've had a good session. The way I've seen people just come to life and become more and more radiant and more embodied, more powerful as coaches and therapists and care providers is in the reflection and connection of others. So I recommend it. I think it's awesome. The next question is, what the fuck is embodiment? Good question. We should have started with that a while ago. That is, I guess I started with it. You being present, being present right here and right now. Our bodies are the quickest access point to being able to be right here instead of being hijacked by the past or the future. So in this moment, you might be able to feel yourself here in your body. You might be able to just access it through sound. You know, if it's hard to be in your body, there's listening. That's a sound, vibration on the ears. That's somatic. Breath, feeling the inhale and the exhale. Maybe notice something that your body's contacting that feels supportive. When we're embodied, we have more information. We have more access to our wisdom. Go, oh, like when I just did that, I noticed, oh, my eyes are a little tired from looking at this bright light in front of me, you know, and oh, I can make different choices around that. I can take care of my body, even when in session. And then that gives our clients permission to feel safe enough to start accessing their body here in the present moment, to start making different choices around taking care of themselves, which is what we ultimately want for them, right? So there's so much I could say around embodiment. So that's just a little piece. Is this worth the investment? I don't know. You tell me. Let's hear about it. Feel free to type that in the chat. I'm checking out the earlier chats. Yeah. 1000% worth the investment. Yes. That makes me so happy. Yes. Exclamation point. Yeah. And folks on this call have signed up for ECE multiple times. And that just is heartening to me. It's like, yes, this is something we want to have for a long time. We want regular consultation when we're holding others. We need to be held. And that to me is 1,000 times worth the investment. Also, something that I've been thinking about lately that I talked to one of you about recently is the more money I spend on support, the more money I make. Like that is hands down has been true for me. The more I give myself permission to be like, yes, I totally want that support. It's not even that I need it. It's like, yes, I want to be part of that awesome group. It will bring me alive. I'll feel connected. The more I give myself that gift, in whatever ways it can be, you know, it doesn't have to be big or small, you know, it can be whatever works for your budget, but just showing ourselves, I believe in this support for myself. I deserve this support. The more money comes back. It's amazing. Yeah. And so, yes, it's worth the investment. I would say 90%-ish of people who have taken it once have taken it more than once, if not 3 or 4 times. I've been running the course. It was originally called Coaching with Confidence now for a few years. And there are familiar faces. Another person said, yes, this is my main coaching investment for 2021. It's absolutely worth it, which is why I'm making it happen. Beautiful. Yeah. And I used to have a supervisor when I first started coaching. She was actually my old psychotherapist, but it just didn't work. I felt super lonely as a coach. As soon as I joined ECE, I was like coming home to a place that got me. I was seen and loved as I was. And my confidence in coaching has expanded definitely. Yeah, beautiful. I think about so many people, you know, health and wellness providers, therapists, coaches, spending sometimes like upward of $100,000 for education and training and the requirements after training. And then I think of the price of Embodied Coaching Experience. And I laugh because I'm like, yes, it's like super ridiculously affordable. And the support that comes with it and connecting with the people who are on these calls, like the people who are on these calls are people I would want to spend my days with, you know, like whether we're working or playing, you know, hanging, just really amazing, incredible humans in the world. And so it's absolutely worth the investment, and it's worth showing ourselves that we are worth getting to be part of an experience like that and getting to be supported when we're supporting so many others. So yes, absolutely. And a couple more questions. Will people or colleagues judge me if they know I struggle with these things, even though I'm relatively successful at what I do? I love this question because Oh, I hated going to supervision. And when I first started going in the psychotherapy world, we were required. I think I did 3,000 hours of supervision over 6 years. And I I did a familiar dance that I do where I show up because I have to be there, and I was pretty puffed up because I felt like I knew way more than everybody else there, because it was really, really scary for me to be vulnerable. Um, because I was afraid that they would doubt my skills and they wouldn't send me referrals if they knew the things I struggled with. And over the years, when I started letting people in, the people in my group, and stopped just like teaching at everyone during the groups, and like being all critical in my head and judging everyone, when I started realizing the wisdom that we all shared, and when I could really start letting in the support and the brilliance of others, my sessions started up leveling with my clients so much. I felt so much more present, felt so much more supported. I felt like I had access to things in myself that I wasn't even aware of before, because before we would be hitting hot spots in myself that I would like take out on my clients or contract around from my own history, that people in my supervision would help point out to me. Or I didn't know how to access my own wisdom, because that was something that I got support around in supervision, as people reflected to me that I actually had wisdom. And so as I let that in over all of those years, I realized I needed it. I needed it to really have a place to bring all of the stuff that comes up. I mean, we're working with deep stuff, big stuff comes up in sessions that people don't talk about outside of the walls of those rooms ever. And so we're carrying so much. And so when we can really let ourselves come into a space like ECE and go, oh my God, I don't know how to deal with this thing. It is so much. It is crazy. It's big. It hurts. It's overwhelming. I'm judging my client. I'm hating my client. I'm bored. I want to fire them, whatever it is. And to see that others feel this too, others struggle with this too. And that also, one thing I think we do really well in ECE is like, you actually do have the wisdom to direct you into what's really going on there, to let you feel what you're feeling in the presence of others. It just feels so healing. And there's something that really happens in there where you get to feel more of yourself. Yeah. I'm seeing a comment here. Yes, it always feels so anchoring to know an ECE call is coming up, because I know I have a place to bring my questions, fears, doubts, and remember that I'm not alone. My coaching has deepened significantly as I've let myself be supported in this way. Yeah, beautiful. I'm so glad. Yes. So last question is pleasure and mindset enough? Or is there something else out there that can really up-level my skills and orientation to supporting clients? Pleasure and mindset is not enough for most of us. I really feel like the embodiment piece, when we're doing mindset work, it's like super cool to get all the insights and to understand, oh, that's where I get afraid. This is what I'm excited about. Here are my beliefs. Here's the new beliefs. But when we can bring that into our bodies, it's so much more powerful. When we understand how to feel all that mindset stuff we're working with in our heart and our bones and our skin, in our breath, and when we are supported to actually bring it down from our minds into our bodies, that's for me when it becomes sustainable. And when we do that enough times, when we practice kind of the combination of both, we're unstoppable. We can drop into our bodies in a moment where we need a little mindset shift in a heartbeat, and let the body work it out. Let the body embrace it. Instead of needing to journal for 6 hours, then we can literally, there's the thought, there's where I'm stuck. Take a breath. That's where I feel it in my body. Here's how I can make space for it in my body. And then the new belief comes from that place. It's like that. Mindset takes a lot longer. So I really like embodiment. I don't do my mindset journaling because I hate it. And all I do is take a few breaths and feel where I'm feeling stuck and love on it. So I really love embodiment. I love somatics. It's efficient and gives me more time and space in my life to not be ruminating about all the things I could be doing or could have done, and to land and rest in a regulated, settled space in my system. So my hope is that all of you are getting a taste of that today, whether you're in ECE already or not, and that you come. So most of you are already in it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more of you, and you bring your people so that we can just keep growing this beautiful, beautiful container. It means so much to me that you're here. If you want to put in the chat any more shares or questions before we end today, and as people are commenting, we can just take some breaths. And Kat, thank you for your comment about editing. Yeah. Belinda shared, big stuff definitely comes up, and I feel good being in a paid container, and I can ask for what I need and be all of me, and be reminded of all my wisdom and gifts from the reflections I get. Beautiful. Yeah. Yep. I don't know why. The journaling for me, it just feels like another thing to do. I don't want to keep doing. I just want to be. And Belinda, I want all my coaching friends to be in ECE. Yes, bring them all. This revolution is happening. Yes to the revolution. Yeah. Thank you, Belinda. Beautiful. Thank you all so much for bearing with the tech fiasco. I told Belinda in the beginning my phone died, which was my hotspot. My camera wouldn't work. My computer wouldn't work. My phone wouldn't even do a Facebook Live or a Zoom call. It was like hilarious. But I'm proud of myself. I just knew it would all work and it would get handled, and you all would show up if you were supposed to. Thank you so much for your presence, and thank you so much for being part of my life. Truly, you make it so I get to do what I love doing. So I'm super grateful. Have a beautiful day or evening wherever you are. And yeah, we'll see you soon. This video will be up on Facebook soon. So just share it with all your people. Oh, the thing I was going to tell you, if you sign up for Embodied Coaching Experience in the next 48 hours and you saw this call, everybody who is already part of it, there's like 24, 5, 6, or 7 people, I can't count, who are already signed up, and whoever signs up in the next 48 hours, we're going to do another call. And we'll do that in January. We start in February. We're going to do another call in January where we answer all your questions. We get to interact a bit and download a bunch of information. So if you sign up, you get to be on that call. All right. Talk to you soon.